Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. So what did I like about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? Well, the first thing I liked was that it was just a fun movie. I loved the comedic tone.
You have a miner hanging out the side of a moving vehicle, firing a laser gun indiscriminately.
Has a proton pack.
It's completely safe.
I wouldn't say completely safe.
The Ghostbusters are finished. Right, well, overruled.
Sustained.
So going back to the first Ghostbusters, you have the dark and the scary moments, especially when they first encounter the ghost. But throughout the movie, I think about Bill Murray in particular, it's a goofy, and Rick Moranis, it's a goofy, funny movie. And that's what this movie captures the best. Throughout the movie, there are jokes. I thought they were funny. The jokes landed for me. You see a little bit of that in the trailer, or you see a good amount of it in the trailer, where I know that Paul Rudd does the whole thing. Bustin' makes me feel good.
Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else? What? Bustin' makes me feel good. Makes me feel good.
The other thing I like about the film is the chemistry between the different characters. Now, I'm not going to remember all their names. Like, I just saw the movie. But I think Gary, Paul Rudd's character, and the mom, they're great. I love her. So the way he is, he's very lighthearted. He's Paul Rudd. He's kind of very jokey, and she's very kind of serious. But she'll throw in a joke or a thing in there. I think it's a perfect balance. It's not two goofy people. It's not two people who are take themselves too seriously. It's a light tone and a more serious tone. The mom and the fun boyfriend. I also like the dynamics between the young people in the film, the daughter, the brother, all of them. So they all seem, they're there's a little bit of tension here and there, but it's like, especially with the siblings, it's what you would think of as sibling tension. There's no like, I hate him, why don't we just throw him, the kind of stuff you get with some melodramatic movies where it has to be all serious and they have to hate each other. I never got that they hated each other. You have the 18-year-old brother, the 15-year-old sister, that happens, they clash. You have, different little dynamics here and there. So I thought it worked. And there's even a little like small spot of tension between Ray and Winston. Ray being Dan Aykroyd and Winston played by Ernie Hudson. That brings me to one of my favorite things about the movie. Winston finally got his flowers.
Looks like a giant Jell-O mold. I hate Jell-O. Oh, come on. There's always room for Jell-O.
I remember, so how it came into Ghostbusters was actually through the animated show, the real Ghostbusters. So when it came out, I think in 83, 84, that time period, when the movie came out, I was like 3 or 4 years old, so I'm not gonna watch the movie at that age. So I came in through the animated series, and then I saw Ghostbusters 2 on television, network television. We didn't have cable when that came out. And so I saw Ghostbusters 2 first, became, like that movie, saw Ghostbusters 1. And so, with that, I really enjoyed Ghostbusters, but one of my big things was I felt like the one black person in the cast was kind of underutilized.
They were doing Ghostbusters, and the movie was being made by a lot of people who were really successful. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. They had already made a number of movies. And I was the guy who was brought in. And so finding my place in the middle of that, and they were all welcoming, and inclusive. The studio wasn't. And the studio continued not to be. So it made it very, very difficult because I was a part of, but then very selectively, I was sort of pushed aside.
And it wasn't until years later that I heard I think it was on the, I think not the Toys That Made Us, but like the Shows That Made Us on Netflix, when they did the background of Ghostbusters, and when Ernie Hudson started talking about his experiences with the show, with the studio, and how they basically kind of undercut him throughout the process. It gave him great opportunity, but at the same time, because they couldn't get Eddie Murphy, that's one of the kind of, I guess, rumors. I don't know if it's been established.
Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis wanted you to be one of the original Ghostbusters, but you turned it down.
Yes, but I did Beverly Hills because I did Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh. All right, so you made a good movie.
It wasn't like I turned it down in as much as I wasn't available because I was doing this other movie.
Do you know who?
The only movie I ever turned down that became a big hit was that Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
You were going to be in that?
Yeah, I was going to be the Bob Hoskins dude, and I was like, what animation and people? That sound like bullshit. to me.
And so to see him now in Frozen, well, in the last movie, Afterlife, and in this one, his character's really evolved. He's a bit, I'm not, spoiler alert, but I mean, you can kind of, if you've seen any interviews with him, he talks about it. He's a billionaire, he's successful, he's kind of taken over, the Ghostbusters mantle on some level, in addition to the Spanglers. But basically, he is very much a well-developed character, and I like that. I like that he finally got his flowers. So what didn't I like? Well, there wasn't anything that I would say that I really, really disliked about the movie. I had a good time. The one thing that I think is pretty glaring, though, is the writing isn't strong. So I think about some of the bigger, more, like Barbie, for example. I'll go Barbie, which is a comedy. But, Barbie has a multi-layered, multifaceted story. It has a message, all that stuff. And it still manages to kind of be this really fun world. It's a fun world, but the writing and some of the things, the jokes, I thought they were fine, but it's very, surface level. Very much, plot devices, stuff you've seen a million times. So that's my biggest kind of critique of the film, is that the writing wasn't strong. And so if you want a really multi-layered, thoughtful comedy, go watch Barbie. So, should you see this film or just skip it? Well, my take on it is this. If you're going into this film, and I'll go back to something like Barbie, which is kind of the pop culture, comedy film, that kind of thing. If you want something like that, that's not what this is. There's no real thoughtfulness. There's no deep, message here. It sounds like a Monster of the Week, literally Monster of the Week type of deal. And even the monster, I guess that would be another thing that I would kind of critique, is the monster wasn't at the end wasn't that significant. It's kind of built up, but was kind of a flatline fail. But it was fine. It was fine. So if you're going into it for a deep cut, multi-level comedy, that's not it. So skip it if that's the case. But if you really just want to go and kind of have a fun experience at the movies, just something you laugh at, something that's kind of like a shallow level film, just a straight comedy, that's what this is. And so the kind of, I just did the review for the Society from American Magical Negroes. That film had a message, but the comedy fell flat. This film, the comedy, in my opinion, was spot on, but there's no real message. It's not really deep there, and I think that's fine. So I would say go see this film, have fun with it, but it's not going to be a super memorable film. It's just something that, a fun Ghostbusters film, my first one that I saw in the theater, and so yeah. Go see it. Have fun. Now, if you found this review interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other movies you really want me to review on this channel, please leave those suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.